All right, and 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey everybody, welcome back to a sheltastic new episode of Speak Freely. Oh. Right? No? Up my game up? Can you hear me? Oh no.
Hello?
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 Oh, have you started?
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn it. Take two. Hey everybody, welcome back to a fresh new episode, a turtlelicious episode of Speak Freely. Oh, I am your host as always, Mr. Freely, along with Mr. Speak. Kuno Stars, how are you?
I'm feeling totally tubular today.
Oh, Cowabunga, dude. Yes, if you can't tell by our terrible puns, and mostly mine, if we're being honest, we are reviewing the original 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles motion picture because it is the 31st anniversary of that movie.
Yes.
And the second one will be celebrating its 30th anniversary very, very soon. And it felt appropriate to do this one. Number one, mostly because, I mean, we grew up with Ninja Turtles. That was our thing. Also, there's a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game, a beat 'em up side scroller, coming up very, very soon, sometime this year. And I don't know, we just felt like it. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Let's go down that old memory road. I know
Speak
it's lame.
freely,
But
nostalgia.
speak freely on nostalgia, baby. But before we get into that movie, which we literally just watched, as always, we like to start off our show with this segment we called News of the Week That Matters to Us. Us. Yeah. And this week, I'll start it off because I'm selfish.
All right. To change of pace, but go for it.
Exactly. There you go. What matters to me this week? Baseball's in full swing, so that's been fun. Keeping up with the Mets and the Astros and the Angels. Very, very fun plays. Very crazy things. Obviously, the biggest one. I think we talked about this last week as well, but like I still kept thinking about that walk-off hit by pitch win by the Mets, which is the most awesome, ridiculous thing I've seen in baseball. And just like, yeah, baseball's back, baby. And the Detroit Tigers are currently winning the series against the Astros. Which, talk about irony. Because
Wow.
who's the manager for the Detroits? Pop quiz.
AJ Hinch.
AJ Hinch. That's right. The irony. Uh. Oh, and I think you'll like this, Brian. I have finally, after many years of collecting but not quite reading, finally making a dent in that huge comic book stack I have hidden in the dark behind me that no one can see. Because I hide it in the dark on purpose, because it's rather embarrassing.
What are you reading?
I finally finished Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's run on Batman from the New 52.
Ooh, the whole run?
The whole run, like all 51 issues. I finally finished it.
Nice.
And I started reading the Batman Who Laughs storyline. So that I can read Last Night on Earth, so that I can finally read Death Metal, which is like Scott and Greg's like last, like their magnus opus last Batman story. So, just to be fair, I've still been reading comic books. I just haven't been reading like the issues. Like I've been like reading more paperbacks than the actual like issues that I've been collecting. So
Okay.
what's the last thing I think the last thing I read was Joker by Brian. How do you say his last name? Brian
Azarello?
Azzarello. That one was
Is it
dark.
It's been recommended to me. I just haven't picked it up yet.
Oh man, it's so okay. I liked it, but it's dark. Like it's a heavy comic book. Like legitimately, it's like it's
Mm.
horrific. It's gross. Like I actually felt kind of gross reading it, but I think that's the point because it's like it's completely like you're on this ride with the Joker, and it's like, and he's a maniac. Like but it's very like you'll like it because it's very like film noir, but comic book. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like this one dude, it's like this one henchman, and it's like completely from his perspective. The narrative's all him, but it's like him witnessing and like this is what it's like to be around the Joker, and it's like it's gnarly, dude. I liked it. Don't know if I love it in
Mm.
particular. Like, say what you will about the Killing Joke, and I know there's some people have problems with it, what have you, but I feel like in terms of a Joker story like that one, I love way more. That being said, this one's pretty good too, but it's heavy, bro. It's kind of
So like
dark.
the Killing Jokes, what, from the 80s, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and don't tell me. That's Alan Moore.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so like Joker, that comes 30 years later. Like there's 30 years of just a difference in society, right? It's just uh, different things are acceptable
not just
now.
not just that, but a difference in how like comic book writers approach comic books.
Yeah, and that's part of it too. Is people who grew up reading The Killing Joke are now writing like stories like The Joker,
The Joker, that's right.
right?
Yeah, and you have to
Hmm.
remember too, like when Watchmen came out and like The Dark Knight Returns, like that was like the first real like, whoa, this is what comic books can be. Because up until that point, it was kind of, for lack of a better term, it was kind of cheesy, right? Not like
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a derogative way because cheesy can be good. Like I grew up watching 1960s Adam West Batman with my dad, and I still have a soft spot for that Batman, right? But I also grew up watching Batman the animated series, which tonally is completely different from Adam West's. And you can make the same thing with the comic books, and then what Alan Moore did and Frank Miller and all those guys with like what they were
Hmm.
doing too, like taking the characters into kind of like this dark gritty realism in comic books. And it's just, yeah, it's very interesting to see how like obviously there's clear influences in the Joker on this one. So, but this one's like really, it's weird because I don't know if I'll read it again anytime soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I read it, I'm like, okay, it's pretty good, but it's again, it's kind of like, man, like you're just, it's a horror film noir.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just horrific, and it has to be because it's the bloody Joker. But yeah, I've been reading a lot of comic books. Trying to finish a couple of books. One of them is Never Let Me Go by here. Hold on. I always forget how to say his name, so I'm gonna grab the book real quick. It's all the way back here. By Kazuo Ishiguro.
Oh, okay.
And I'm reading it because of my friends.
Schoolwork.
My friends in Pajukin are doing
Yeah.
their next Book Nook episode. Not a sponsor, but I love those guys. I'll plug them all the time. The next Book Nook episode is based on this book, and it's gotten me back into reading that show. So I'm gonna follow it just to keep reading.
Nice.
I'm about, I don't know. I only read it like one day, and I'm already halfway through it. So
Oh,
yeah.
that good, huh?
Uh, Let me finish it first.
All right.
It's interesting. I will say that it's interesting, and I know like some people are like, "Oh, we had to read this in high school," but like, okay, that doesn't mean it's a bad book. Like we had to read House of the Spirits, and I love that book.
Oh,
Or
yeah. Uh, I love it now. Not. I don't think in
as a
high school.
kid,
You
yeah.
know.
Well, in high school, like I did appreciate it. I was like, "Oh, I never knew books could be this." But at the same time, he kind of also hated it because like, gotta write a fucking essay on the themes and thematic elements.
Yeah.
I don't care. Why the revolution? What do you think that means? I don't care. That's
It
what
means
that means.
there's a revolution.
Duh. How come magic dies halfway through the book when the second generation comes through?
Because they're lazy. I
Is that
don't-
is that a spoiler? People probably be like, "What?
oh no.
Magic, generations, revolutions?" Go read House of the Spirits. It's actually a good book. I've been meaning to reread that one too. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
mostly been it. Lots of reading and just kind of trying to take it easy.
nice. I
All
wish
right.
I really want to do more reading. And I really wish I force myself to make the time for it, but
I feel that
it's difficult.
you gotta make the commitment to be like, you know what I've done. Whereas before, I don't know your like your routine. Whereas before, like before I went to bed, it would be like I'm gonna catch up on YouTube videos and blah 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 blah
Mm,
blah. Now instead of watching YouTube videos, I'm like I'm gonna read one chapter, two chapters, or like whatever I can of this book I'm reading. And honestly, bro, you make that small commitment. Like I've already read how many novels have I read this year? I've probably read like 4 or 5 novels already. Legitimately,
nice. That's
just
like
doing like yeah, and you don't and if you don't read every night, that's fine too. Just like a chapter or two chapters, and then when you find before you know it, you're gonna find yourself like, you know what? I got like an hour of free time instead of watching this whatever, playing this whatever. I'm gonna try to make a dent in this book. Before you know it, it's over.
nice.
So
I'm
I
gonna
would
try.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, because you
Read some.
nailed it right on the head. It's YouTube right before bed.
Yeah, I
you
know.
know,
I know, dude. That's me. That used to be me a lot too, and I had to be like, you know what? Instead of YouTube, let me read a book.
let's do something actually productive.
Yeah. Well, even then, like, if we get into it, it's all entertainment, right? For the
Sure.
most part, right? I mean, there's some YouTube videos, and I'm sure it's like this too, where like you watch something to get informed on like me in particular, right? I do a lot of like gadget reviews, like instruments and like
Mm.
production stuff, and then I'll watch the occasional like let me watch this goofy mythical chef cook this obnoxious dish for funsies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so, and then we watch Hot Ones. I love that show. Not a sponsor, but
Hot Ones is pretty good.
Hot Ones is pretty good. So, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, too, I don't know. Something about COVID in particular just made me kind of go, like, you know what, man? Like, let me do something that at least makes me feel like I'm doing something other than just staring at my computer screen or my phone screen for like hours on end. And I feel like reading a book, and surprisingly, too, like reading a book before going to bed makes it easier to fall asleep because you're not like you don't have the glare of the cell phone on you, right?
Blurring in your face.
Yeah. There's honestly I don't know what it is scientifically, but there's honestly something about that where like if you're on your phone and then you're like try to go to sleep immediately, you can't because something about that, just the brightness of it, just I don't know. So and now I'm transitioning from reading novels to like let me read these comic books before bed. So that's what I've been doing mostly this week. Oh,
That's
and
awesome.
I joined a band, I guess, technically. Technically. So,
Technically.
yeah, I'm filling in on bass because their bassist had to quit.
Mm.
So, yeah, technically. Yeah, I've been going to rehearsals 3 weeks now. So, fuck it. I'm
Oh,
in the
like
band. Oh.
you as of right now, you have declared yourself part of the
Yeah,
band.
I'm part of the band.
Yeah. Hopefully they know that too.
You okay with that, Fowles? It's been 3 weeks. It's a habit now. I'm part of the band. Fuck you.
Yeah, but you've been going to like
Rehearsals
live practice.
every week. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
How's it feel to be playing together with
It felt
actual human beings?
the first day felt weird. I was a little nervous because I was like, man, am I going to pick up on their stuff? It was legit like wearing a hat. It was like, here we go. It was
Nice.
fun.
Okay.
Hence why I've been going every week for 3 weeks. And I was like, yep, I'll do this every week. This is cool. So,
Okay.
and it reinforces my streaming too. You know what I mean? Because like we get creative in that group session because we're writing some original tunes. So then like when it's time to
Hmm.
stream too, I'm like, all right, I can like it's like a nice
You're
little warm
you're,
up to get
you're
the
in
stream
that
going.
zone, right?
Yeah. So it's been kind of nice creatively speaking. That being said, this week I have had a creative low. I just haven't felt super creative in terms of like sitting down and writing original material. I
Hmm.
kind of know why that is because like the last 3 weeks I was just like, what's out there now? I'm like I gotta finish this Dan Murrell theme, I gotta finish this Adams Collins theme, and I gotta do this Kevin Smith theme for like 3 weeks. I've just been like hunkered down working on those themes nonstop. So now that they're out, I just kind of felt like I need a little break before I.
Yeah, I get
So
that too.
so,
Totally understand
but yeah, thanks for letting me go first, man. Brian,
it.
what's some news of this week that you would like
um,
to share with the free speakers?
so I just found out a buddy of mine. He just joined the band. I'm actually really excited for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome! That's weird. That's wow. What a weird timing.
um. So I've been collecting these books. I've full disclosure, I've read them in the past, right? They're Neil Gaiman books, uh, but they got these. They're like reissues of the books, and they are here you go. A new cover, right, by artist named Henry Sidney Yee, and he's doing kind of like his interpretation of the novels in watercolor paintings. So every
Ooh,
month, I've been getting the newest book. So coming out in a couple of days is the next book in the series, and I'm really excited to go pick that up.
and you've read all those before already? You
In
said
the past, yeah,
Neil Gaiman's. He also wrote Sandman, right? Am I remembering that right?
yes, yeah. So I've been picking up also the Sandman trade paperbacks, and so that's what I'm going to start reading at night. I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna do it. No
Hell
YouTube.
yeah.
I'm gonna sit down and finally read Neil Gaiman's Sandman,
I've
because
been meaning to.
I've read most of his novels, and then most of his short stories as well. But I've never read any of his like the comic book that basically put him on the map. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I have not read those, which is weird to say, but I'm gonna start doing it this year.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be somewhat of a positive influence. Hey man,
in
if I
term
can read,
in terms of reading, yes.
in terms of literally everything else, no.
Hmm. It's
Hmm.
questionable.
Damn it! I was gonna say that too. Son of a bitch, you beat me to it. What else? What else have you been up to this week?
um. Other than that, I mean, it's work has taken over a huge chunk of my life right now. It's been getting busier now that things are opening up here in Southern California.
Yeah, I would
We're at
imagine.
Yeah, we're allowed to have 50% capacity in like dining indoors, and so we've been trying to hire new people, get them trained, and I don't know. It's weird. You would think because like we're coming out of a pandemic, right? A lot of people have been out of work for a very long time. You would think that more people would be eager to get back to it, but no. It's been such a struggle trying to find somebody, even just one person, to do like a
In an
part-time
interview.
gig.
Wow.
Yeah, no, like sometimes they don't show up for interviews. Like you schedule, hey, come in on Monday. We'll sit, we'll talk, and then we'll discuss what the job is and all this stuff. They don't show up.
Like no shows. Like not even
Like,
late. Just straight up no
nope.
show.
Yeah, no shows. You call them, you text them, no response.
That's gnarly. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So,
That's
and then
odd.
on top of that, we just launched like new items for the menu. So I have to train the current staff on those items as well, making sure things are, quality control, making sure it's coming out correctly, taste testing everything. Um, and then I'm also trying to revamp some of the current items, like the granola. The old recipe is kind of stale. It's old. I don't like it, right? So I've been working on different iterations of like what kind of granola goes well with what we're trying to do.
Look at you, you fucking scientist.
So I think I've settled on it. Um, the first couple times I was trying to do the granola, I was like, cool, I'm gonna do like it's like sweet, it's kind of like salty, make it a little more complex in flavor. And then the owner was like, no, Copa Vita is known for matcha granola. If you want to change it, do what you want, but it has to have matcha. I was like, dang, back to the drawing board, back to ground zero. And so I've been working on that, and I think I've settled on something that is pretty serviceable,
And it's still matcha.
and it's still matcha, which I'm not a huge fan of to begin with, so that's why it's a little bit difficult. But
You only have one granola thing on the menu.
yeah,
And that's just the manager's like the owner's like that's it.
yep,
Oh man.
this is the identity of Copa Vita. We got to keep it that way.
All right.
Which
I mean, it's yeah, yeah, I get it. It's his business. He could do what he wants
Mhm.
with it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, ugh, all right, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
So
man. I can't wait to
yeah,
try it. You guys
one
making
day.
a shakshuka? Cause I'm into those.
We have it's almost shakshuka-ish, but it's on top of an avocado toast.
That's just too. That's too Californian for me, dog.
It is very California.
He said as he's remembering now that he had an avocado toast in Kansas City. Right? Is that where I had it? That was the last city we
Yeah,
went to, right? Yeah, it was
it was
Kansas
in
City.
Kansas City.
It was pretty good. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. It's actually really good, and I felt dumb eating it, but I was like, it's delicious. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're like
Yeah.
starting to work on that menu and like putting your signature on that. That's badass, man.
Hmm.
So when I visit next time, can I play music in there?
Actually,
Oh
we probably
shit!
could. We actually probably could work something out.
Bet we'll talk off. My people will contact your people, and
Please, yeah.
legit though, we'll talk about that off there.
Okay,
That would be fun.
that would
Alrighty.
be awesome.
All right. Is that it for the news of the week that matters to you?
Yeah,
Awesome.
can't think of anything else. Right, I might come back to it later. We'll see.
We'll see. It's our show. We can do whatever the hell we
Yeah,
want. Speaking of doing whatever the hell we want, we watched TMNT today.
yeah, we
The
did.
90 motion picture. Um, it's good.
I
All right,
liked
everybody. That's been.
it. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for what. No. But it's surprisingly, like, all right. I guess as adults, it's like, oh, the plot holes and this and that. Yes, sure, whatever. But it's fun. It's a fun little romp. 90 minutes. You know what I mean? The turtles have
Yeah,
a lot of puns and stuff. What'd you think?
uh, yeah. I mean, it's a little cheesy, sure. Um, like if they release something like that today, right, with this, film standards of like 2020, 2021, I don't think it would do so well, right? But when you hold it to the sentence, oh, this is from 1990, and you hear all these little puns, these jokes, you're like, yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah,
You know?
and and then you add on top of that, it's based on a cartoon made for kids, and it's like,
Right.
oh, okay, right? But
Yeah, and then
even then,
the score was kind of odd.
oh yeah, we were talking about the well, the score is very like it's odd because it's like it's starting to be 90s but still holding on to the 80s in terms of like instrumentation, a lot of meaty
Hmm.
stuff in it, surprisingly. some orchestration a lot. They throw in some electric guitars in there too, so it's like very still clearly influenced by like 80s like sounds, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So but it also has like listening to it, it's like it also has like funk elements in it, like hip hop elements in it of the time. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's a very eclectic score. Also, too, not sure if some of the choices were appropriate for some of the scenes. Specifically, the one we're talking about was the
That
one
fight
where
scene.
yeah, where the Foot Clan invades April's home in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like the music here is it's kind of cartoony.
It's a little goofy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little goofy, and I don't know if that was the right choice for that. But again, it's a movie made for kids,
Yeah.
allegedly.
On what is it called now? ID10T, right? The
Mm-hmm.
podcast that Chris Hardwick does. Robert Kirkman was a guest. It was like maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, and they started talking about like the Transformers like 1980s animated film, and then Chris Hardwick was like, "Oh, like you look back on it now as an adult, like, oh yeah, the plot holes, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. Like, why does this happen? Why does that happen?" And Robert Kirkman responds, "Yeah, but then sometimes that kind of stuff you kind of just go, fuck you, it's for kids." That's your answer. Like, why does he do that? Fuck you, it's for kids.
I
And
mean,
that's
yeah,
yeah, that's also the same vibe in this movie.
yeah, legitimately, yeah.
Yeah, why is
Eh,
this music? Fuck you, it's for kids.
um, that's why I
Hmm.
work for that man because of
Yeah.
stuff like that. but but yeah, because obviously if you start thinking about the plot too much and you start getting into like, but wait, but at the same time, it is kind of like, well, fuck you, it's for kids. It's not meant to
Yeah.
be this like heady theme about existentialism and like what does it mean to be human through the prism of looking at it through these. No, it's just like they're turtles, they know ninja stuff, and there's a couple of cool fight scenes. The end.
Yeah. It's that scene with Casey Jones finding Splinter, right? Just giant rat.
Literally,
All right.
he just comes in and goes, all right, let's get him out of here. Like it's
Yeah,
just a
okay.
yeah, you know what I mean. It's just like
Mhm.
it is such like a weird metaphor of like if you're watching this film, just being like, yeah, okay, like this is what the film is. Like there's giant
Mhm.
turtles, no one bats an eye. It is what it is. Let's go. Like the only semi-realistic reaction we get to the turtles is April's when she's freaking
Mhm.
out. But
Which by the way, like I truly believed she was freaking out.
oh, like in real, like the actress in real life being like,
Yeah.
what the. Do you think that's actually a great question? Do you think that was like the first scene she shot with the full suits and the animatronics and all that stuff?
Maybe.
That I hope they did, because that like imagine that's like you're getting like the most authentic like reaction to like what you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would freak out.
all throughout rehearsal, like, yeah, just they'll be painted green. It's cool, it's fine. And then she wakes up, there's actual like live churros in front of her.
Yeah, like what? That being said, also too like the turtle suits. Like if you look hard enough, you can kind of sort of see the scenes, but for the most part, they're
Mm.
pretty seamless, man. Like the
Yeah,
texturing of the
they're
actual
fantastic.
yeah. That there was, I mean, if you go look at articles, there's obviously nightmare stories about those heads like never working and like other
Yeah.
frequencies messing with the frequencies of like the controls and all that stuff. But like when it works in the movie, like it's pretty like yeah, okay. You kind of buy into it, right? A little bit.
Hmm. Yeah, it just also what the director did was he made things kind of dark, right? So like in Jurassic Park, when Steven Spielberg shows you the dinosaurs, like initially it's they're kind of hidden in a way where like even by today's standards, like it holds up really well because you don't get too much detail on like what those dinosaurs look like. In the same way with the suits here in the Turtles movie, like it looks really good still. I don't,
Yeah,
you know.
that's an interesting. You raise up an interesting thing because like take for example the modern American Godzilla films or any like big monster type of film, like even Pacific Rim. A lot of times they shoot it right, shoot the film in the dark to kind of hide the effects of
Mm-hmm.
it. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, this movie kind of does that in the beginning, but also it's also not afraid to like when they go to the farm to
Oh yeah, and they're out in the
O'Neill's farm.
open.
Yeah, let's talk about that farm scene real quick. This was probably the one time in the film where even we as adults could ignore the fact like this is odd. This feels out of place in the film. Like,
Yeah, I kind of understand what they're doing with that
mm-hmm,
scene, right? Because
mm-hmm,
it's giving you, well, one, some time to breathe, because everything's been kind of just like go 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 go, and it just comes right after like that huge fight scene, right, where the apartment's burning, things like that. I think it really slows it down to give you uh, an idea of the weight that is on them, right? You got like April loses her, not just her apartment, but like the shop that belonged to her father. Like
mm-hmm.
all that's gone. And then the turtles, like they've lost Splinter,
and
and
and and Ralph, they don't know if Ralph's gonna make it.
then they don't know if Raphael's gonna make it. So it's just,
Yeah,
you kind of need it to be like, hey, like this is kind of serious. It's a kids
yeah,
film, but it's like this moment. It's like we don't know if they're actually gonna make it out and succeed or not.
that's true. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
mind it so much for that. I think you hit it perfectly. You said it perfectly well. I think the part that just feels odd is the narrative from April because there's literally the whole film no narrative at all, and then we get nonstop narrative the whole time they're at the farm, and then when we come back to New York, no more narrative. I think that to me is what made it feel like that's. I mean, okay,
So
this is where it's
here's what I
this is
noticed.
yeah, yeah.
While she's employed as a reporter, there's no narrative. In that middle chunk where she's been fired and she's no longer a reporter, there's narrative, but it's like she's reporting to the audience what's going on. And also because like you can't really emote with those turtle faces, she kind of has to tell you how they're feeling.
But you kind of can though. They kind of do emote a little bit. Like the scene, like particularly the scene with like, even if you don't show like full face, like the scene with like Leonardo in the bathroom, just looking over Raphael, and him just kind of like slouched. You can tell like he's been there forever. He's kind of like, you know what I mean, like that right
Hmm.
there. I didn't need April to be like, yeah, he's very bummed out. Like, oh my god, he's just if we just had. Again, I understand this is me coming from an adult perspective. This movie was made for kids, and kids probably it'd probably go over their head, right? They're not thinking too critically at that time. They're just like, why is it so quiet? Why is everyone sad? Where's Raphael? Right? So the voice is there to kind of tell the
Hmm.
kids. Like I get it, I understand it, but like there's like a part of me that wishes there was like that. I guess like the adult cut where it's just there's no narrative. It's just like these somber scenes of like here are the turtles just kind of like dealing with it, and it trusts the audience to figure out how they're dealing with it. You know what I mean? Instead of telling you like, hey, this is how they're dealing with it. Which by the way, I just noticed this too on this rewatch. They never show you how Michelangelo's dealing with it. We see how Donatello's dealing with it. We
Hmm.
see how Leonardo's dealing with it. We see Raph in the bathtub. We even hear about Casey Jones and how he's dealing with it all, relatively speaking, through O'Neill's narrative. No mention of Michelangelo whatsoever. Was he just like he didn't care? He was indifferent? Like I always found that odd. Like wait, but what about Mikey? Like
I I did notice that, and I was wanting a little bit of like, how is he dealing with it?
Because he's the only turtle when they have the we're jumping around, but whatever. He's the only one when we have that scene around the campfire. He's the only one that sheds tears.
Yeah,
She's the only one. Everyone else is kind of like they're kind of holding it back. They're kind of taken aback by like the mysticism of what just happened. Mikey's the only one like full tears from both eyes. So I feel like that moment might have been more impactful if like even if it's like Mikey seems to be doing just fine, you know, he's still cracking jokes or whatever, right? I think that moment of
hmm
him crying would have been more impactful. Be like, oh, he was just holding it in for the sake of everybody else. You know what I mean? Something.
yeah,
But we get nothing, which is like so odd. Like I don't care how Casey's dealing with it. No offense, I love Casey Jones as a character, but like as a kid, you're here for the freaking turtles. Like, what's Mikey doing during this time? Like the only thing we get is like the silly little like turtle wax joke.
yeah. But that comes after the fact that they've like meditated and
Does it?
they know.
Doesn't it come before?
Oh no, it doesn't.
It comes
Oh no, it,
before.
it, it comes after Raph gets up.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Cause immediately after they have that campfire and they're able to communicate with a Splinter, that's when their
They go
turtles are like,
back.
we have to go back. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I know Mikey's supposed to be like, and again, this is where it's like I get it. It's for kids. I'm probably thinking overly critically of this film, but it's like, okay, like it's also like a moment where you can kind of show kids, and this was made in the '90s. Granted, now kids movies now delve into these themes a lot better because
Hmm
they're kind of made for kids, but also for adults now too. But I would have liked it if at least able to. But Mikey seems the only one to be doing just fine, and just leave it at that. Like a simple, all right, you're gonna narrate to us, okay, cool. Just leave it to that. So then when the kids watch the scene of Michelangelo, like they either ask their parents or like they're able to be like, oh, he was just holding it in for like everybody else. He was trying to be the strong one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hmm
because it has to be a choice that he's literally the only one who cries during that scene. Like he sheds tears, and the camera
Yeah,
makes a point of it too, because you get like a really up close look. He's like,
yeah. I wonder if there's a deleted scene somewhere.
it probably is a lot of deleted material. Who knows if they'll ever.
Release
Who
any of that.
who owns New Line Cinema now?
I guess Warner Brothers, right? If it's on HBO Max.
I guess right. Technically,
Hmm.
you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I want to touch upon a point you made where you said that like she's kind of narrating more for the kids because adults can figure it out, right? And she's just kind of like talking through this whole scene. And once you brought that up, I was thinking, man, that feels very American, like very U.S. movie, where like it's a movie for kids. You can't have any moments of silence. Like someone's got to be talking at all times in a
yeah,
kids
you're
film.
probably. Mm-hmm.
I
I
do
think
wonder
I
if
think
maybe
you're
they
right.
added that after the fact.
No, it's definitely. I would say that's probably very American, but because even some of the earlier Toho Godzilla films, especially
Hmm
the ones that were quote unquote made for kids, like there's moments of levity in those films too. But then also too surprisingly, what movie am I thinking about where they were like this might be too violent for kids? There was a particular Godzilla film, I forget which one. It's the one with the kid in it. Is it Gigan? Godzilla versus Gigan? It might be Godzilla versus Gigan. And there was like criticism about like the violence and like putting the kid in danger and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
There's also another movie with the weird space people. Fuck, what movie was that? Was it Space Godzilla? It might be Space Godzilla. Anyways, the point being, even then though, like those moments of levity in other foreign films that were made for kids, like Godzilla in particular, like they had those moments, right? But then also like here too though, like there was criticism from parents being like, oh, that's too violent, or that was too heavy for kids, blah blah blah. Which again, if you remember the criticism about this film for parents in particular, was that this movie was way too dark for kids.
hmm
Raphael says the word damn.
3 times in the first 15 minutes.
Yes. the turtles have weapons like nunchucks and sais and katanas.
Katanas,
Very
bow
violent.
staffs.
Bow staffs. Casey beats everyone up with bats and other bats from other sports. I
Yeah,
don't know.
like household items, right? Like a golf club, a baseball bat, probably a
Yeah.
tennis racket at some point. I don't know.
April O'Neil, uh, beautiful, beautiful actress. That's all I'll say about that. but um, but yeah, and we were talking about this too while we were watching the film. And I guess because of the PG rating, you could make an argument like, oh, this isn't for kids, right? But then like I think of PG movies like Pixar in particular, like Soul and like Up and Inside Out and Brave and like movies with like this heavy thematic material and like sometimes even like dark moments and like particularly Toy Story 3 and the whole furnace scene, right? Like that moment
Oh,
arguably is a dark, scary, depressing moment in a supposedly kids film, right?
mm-hmm.
Or even like the first 10 minutes of Up.
Oh god, I'm gonna start crying right now.
Or Bing Bing
Bing
disappears from
bong.
existence. Bing Bong, whatever the fuck, disappears from existence. See, I
That
forgot
was
who
pretty
he
sad
was.
too.
But you know what I'm saying? Like those movies are PG, but now like no one seems to have a qualm about it, and I think it's twofold.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, because Pixar, right? But number two, also because it's animated, it's not live action. Or what do you think about that? Because like obviously to us, it's like it's not that. Like they never stab anybody. The turtles aren't trying to hurt people. They're just trying to stop people. They're not actually trying to murder people. The Foot Clan, some of them in the Foot Clan are trying to actively murder people. Casey does murder somebody allegedly until the sequel
Mm.
reveals that he didn't. Um, I don't know, but what do you think
Spoilers.
about that? Hey, we speak freely here. Speak freely on
All right, all right.
spoilers.
I think you make a good point where like Pixar stuff that is animated, and I think there's a separation from reality when you're watching an animated film, as opposed to like a live action where like
Mm-hmm.
it just, I mean, they're puppets, but it still feels more real, I guess, to the parents of the 90s.
What was ET rated?
Probably PG.
It was PG as well,
That's a
right?
scary ass movie. Yeah.
That movie's fucking horrifying, but it was rated PG. I wonder what parents said about ET. Cause I know, I think it was infamously it was like the first Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark that made the MPAA give that PG-13 rating because that first Raiders of the Lost Ark is violent. Because that one and then or was it Temple of Doom that made it go like parents go
PG.
like
ET
ET's
is
PG.
rated PG. Yeah.
All right, look at the Indiana Jones films because I know Last Crusade is PG-13, but is Temple of Doom and Raiders both PG? 'Cause I'm pretty sure it was the Indiana Jones franchise that made parents go like, "You can't say these are PG. They're so scary and violent. You got to give us another rating." They're like,
Uh,
"Fine, PG-13."
Raiders of the Lost Ark is rated 95% on Rotten. That's not what I'm looking for.
We know.
Let's see. Raiders is PG.
And so is Temple of Doom, I would imagine. Yeah, I can look that up real quick too. Or was Temple of Doom? Yep, Temple of Doom is PG. I'm pretty sure it was Temple of Doom that made parents go, "We you need to give us another rating. These movies are not for kids." Yep, because Last Crusade's PG-13, 1989. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. So it's kind of odd. Maybe it's like it's so hot. It's so odd to me how like this movie gets that scrutiny of like this is violent. This is too scary for kids. But then you have movies like E.T. and like you know what I mean?
Indiana Jones and yeah.
Did those movies get those? Well, Indiana Jones Last Crusade was 1989, and I'm pretty sure it is Temple of Doom that made parents go, "You got to give us a different rating." But Let me look at something too. Yeah, Back to the Future as well. All three of them were PG as well. Back to the
Yeah.
Future
So
Part 3 came out same year, 1990, also PG. But I don't specifically remember that movie getting scrutiny. And it's like in a Western, there's gunfights.
hmm
Like, there's a hanging. Like, there's a literal hanging. Marty McFly gets dragged behind horses. Like, it's kind of a violent film, too.
I
That's
wonder
odd.
if it's I wonder if it's the fact that they're puppets and turtles and
I think it's the fact of you said, too, it was like at this time, America knows the turtles more from the animated series and the comic books.
right.
Which if you read the original comic books are pretty dark as well. They're pretty violent.
hmm
But then they take it into the children's animated series, and that's goofy. It's cheesy. It's like kind of fun and colorful. And you translate that to the big screen. I would imagine parents were thinking like, oh, it's just gonna be like the cartoons, and that's probably where the disconnect comes. Because I do find it very odd that this movie gets that scrutiny. It's kind of known for that scrutiny compared to like Back to the Future or
hmm
E.T. that came around the same era. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Was it the same said about Batman 1989? Because most people knew Batman from like the 66 series. And so when Tim Burton took over and did
But
the Batman movie,
that movie was rated PG-13 though.
it
I am
was.
I'm very sure when that movie came out in '89, it was PG-13. Let's double check. Yep, PG-13, 1989. Yep.
Hmm,
So people kind of knew like, whoa, this is a dark film. It's PG-13. Ooh.
interesting.
So so if parents were complaining about that, it's like, yeah, but it's PG-13. Like you should know by now. Or maybe because it's still such a relatively, I guess, new rating. Maybe I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to talk about.
So you think if Turtles was rated PG-13, parents wouldn't really have an issue with it?
No, parents wouldn't take their kids to go watch it.
True.
They would. This movie would have made no money if it was PG-13. Which nowadays PG-13 isn't like parents take kids to PG-13 movies all the time. Just look at the
They take them
MCU.
to rated R movies all the time.
Bad parents do. Most parents, though, at least the ones I associate with, PG. After a certain age, they'll be like, "All right, PG-13." But it also depends on the film franchise they're taking them to. Like, obviously, if they're taking them
Yeah.
to Marvel or Star Wars, they tend to be a little more lenient because it's still Disney, technically speaking.
hmm
If it's like anything else PG-13, they tend to be like, well, let me see the reviews first, and then we'll discuss. You know what I mean? And it's like a
Okay.
particularly young kid. At least for most of the parents I've talked to about that, which are mostly like the parents of the kids I teach.
Right. Okay.
So,
That's
only the
fair.
bad ones. All the bad ones are like, yeah, I took him to go see Conjuring last week. He's fine. The kids, they're holding the guitar. What? But
Conjuring's a pretty scary movie though. The
yeah, it
first
is.
one.
I
I
like it
haven't
though.
seen anything else. I've only seen the first one.
What? You gotta watch
Yeah.
two, bro. Two's pretty good too.
Oof.
Two's pretty good. I'm not
I
the
just
biggest.
I just don't do horror.
I'm not the biggest horror movie buff either. But there's a couple I'll go out of my way for, and those original Conjuring movies, aces, legit good movies in my book, legitimately. I still get freaked out when I watch them though. Ah,
Ugh.
ah! But they're good movies. That's another topic for another time. Horror movies we can stand. Horror movies we
Yes.
can stomach here at Speak Freely.
All
But
right.
yeah, I don't know. I find it fascinating that this movie got that scrutiny of like it's too dark, and it's like, is it though?
A
Eh,
little bit, honestly though, a little dark. A little bit for 1990. Not by today's standards, not at all, but for 1990,
I don't even think for 19 ET, bro. Lion King.
that was 94.
Oh yeah, you're right. Back to the Future too. Well, ET
Hmm,
was 82. Wow, ET's 82. All right. Well,
that's a long
okay.
time ago.
That is a long time ago. That explains it. Because that movie would have been PG-13 in the 90s, I think.
Oh yeah,
ET? Easily.
easily.
That movie's scary. It's a great film. Another one I haven't seen in a hot minute. I need to go revisit that one.
We might have to do that.
We might have to do that.
Speak
Uh,
freely on nostalgia movies.
you know what? Why not? I'm not mad at that topic. When did this movie? It came out in '82, but when specifically did it come out? It's reaching. It's reaching its 40th anniversary next year.
Yeah.
Maybe we save it. Maybe we save it till then.
What do you think, audience? Let us know in the comments below. Should we do
Leave it.
ET?
Leave it in the comment section down below. What? When did it? When did you release film? I don't. Hold on. I need to figure this out.
June 11,
June
1982.
11th. Yep. It's on
Ooh,
2022 on
The
June.
Goonies.
We'll be watching. Ooh. Wasn't that movie also PG? That
Uh,
movie also has some scary elements in it too.
yeah, it doesn't.
85 PG. Yep.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, PG. Hmm.
Huh. There we go. Anyways, here's something interesting about the Turtles movie that I found out. It was technically an indie film. They made it with a really small budget.
Yes.
Very small budget for the film.
I think most of the
13.5
budget went
to the
to like Jim
animatronics.
Henson. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like 13.5 million for the whole film.
That is
Eh,
cheap.
That's kind of, yeah, by those standards, considering like how, like, yeah, critically it was panned, but the movie made like a lot of money, right? Box office $202 million.
Oh, wow.
That explains
No
why they
wonder they
rushed
made three.
that. Yeah, the second one comes out literally a year after. The second one came out, I think literally, I think almost like a year to the date. Hold on. Yeah, actually, less than a year. March 22nd, 1991 came out. The second one came out.
Oh, they really rushed that.
They rushed the crap out of that. There's a couple of articles about that too, which I find fascinating. Like the
Hot
whole
take.
reason.
Second one's better than the first. Tune in next time to find out our thoughts.
You know what? Fair. I'll save it for when we inevitably watch two. By the way, we're gonna watch all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies ever made ever, theatrically released. Let me just release in the theater. All right, fair.
Fair.
So the original trilogy, then we got that animated one,
Mm-hmm.
then we have
Michael Bay.
those other two.
Hmm.
Final thoughts.
Um,
I feel like there's more we wanted to say because there's like a
there
lot about
was.
this film.
We talked a lot during the film.
We should have recorded that. You know what? For the next one, we should record it. Like, just us watching the movie, kind of like a commentary.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
like a B side though, not like for the main episode. I feel like as like an extra. We've always been talking about B sides. Probably cut this part out, but you know what I'm talking about? How remember?
Yeah, I remember
Just
that.
keep freely B sides. I think that'd be a good first B side.
For the Patreon. All right.
For the Patreon.
Hmm?
Not a bad idea for the future, actually. Not right now.
No.
We're not near that, but eventually,
Maybe. Hopefully.
hopefully. Alrighty. But back on track. Yeah, but overall, like, fight scenes were really fun. Like, even though, yeah, they're still limited. Like, they're doing flips, they're doing kicks, they're doing all this crazy stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
They
so I do remember seeing a video on that where like so they have in the shells, right? They have all the computer style, the mechanics, right? That's how they control the faces and things like that. But it would have been way too hot and way too heavy to do fight scenes
Mm-hmm.
with
I
all
know what
that
you're going with.
stuff.
I know what you're
Hmm
going with this. Yeah.
And so for those fight scenes, they had a whole different suit that was empty, but obviously the head was just like stable. So
Yeah, if you look very closely at the film, which I was doing, because I was like, I
yeah,
remember that too. When the fight scenes, it would be the not animatronic
Fa-
suits.
hmm
So it would just be. I correct me if I'm wrong. Only the head was animatronic,
yes,
right?
yeah. There's actual people in the suit like
There's
moving.
actual people in the suits. I know actual stuntmen in the suits. I know
Hmm
that, but I do remember like them saying like the suits were very heavy. They were very hot. And for the actual fight scenes, they had like these just molds of the turtles' heads and just like one expression, which is always like fight expression.
Yeah, generic fight expression.
Yeah. But what I like about it too, because the action's so fast paced, in my opinion,
Hmm
like yeah, you can kind of tell, but not really. The way they kind of shoot around the turtles and how they're fighting, you can't really tell that it's just like. And then when they do talk, they intercut into it so seamlessly. It's actually really great editing. Now that I'm
Yeah,
really thinking about it, because it feels so seamless when it's like when they stop in the middle of the fight to give their jokes, which I don't mind at all because the freaking turtles. It's like, oh yeah, and then back into.
back into
So
fighting.
it worked for me, the fight scenes. I'm not gonna lie.
I love the fight scenes. And like I said, the editing was really good. Like you know what's going on, you know who's fighting who, you know exactly which turtle you're looking at.
Yep, I would
Hmm
agree too. I saw this quick critic being like, I just saw it right now, and I was like doing research for the movie, and was like, oh, it's so hard to distinguish who is who, and I'm like, are you maybe
Blind?
go maybe go get that checked, brother? Like, it's not difficult to see who is who, not at all. I don't know. What do
No.
you think?
Maybe we're just too into the turtles. I don't know.
But I was never confused of like which one's Michelangelo, which one's Raphael, which one's Leo, which one's Don. Like
Yeah, no, I
it's
was never confused.
no, they're pretty easy to tell. That
Hmm
being said, couple of word shots. One in particular,
that that
the
phone scene.
the fucking hands. I mean, kudos for creativity. Making a guy calling a number one of the most interesting things to see on cinema. Weird, because it's like this over the top, and it's the sheriff's hands, and he's about to call Charles because he arrested his
hmm
son Dan to like kind of blackmail him into being like, stop telling April to talk about the Foot Clan. It's like this weird over the head shot scene where it also turns and pivots to like face him while he's calling, and like thematically, like cinematography, it's kind of a cool scene, but
Yeah, it's interesting.
it's weird in the placement of the film. Like
A little bit, yeah.
it's almost too dramatic for a simple phone call.
Yeah.
I know it's blackmail, whatever, fine, but it's like, is it a little much? I think it's a little much.
I think they could have edited it differently for sure.
Yeah,
But I can see like it gives you information you need, right? It's down on the kid's
Danny,
name on
Danny's
Danny.
file. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know who he's talking about, right? And you pick up the phone, Charles, and so you know who he's talking to. Um, but also, yeah, like you can kind of hear him like under his breath, like reciting the phone number over and over again, so he doesn't
Mm.
forget what he's.
It's just odd,
It's weird.
and the way he handles, because the guy, the actor, I don't know if this was a choice or a note, but he uses only these two fingers. Like when he's separating the pages, he uses it like that. When he picks up the phone, he picks it up like this. You remember? And then when he's dialing it too, he's like, it's 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 just odd. It just really stands out to
Yeah,
me.
it's like pretend you're a turtle. You only have three fingers.
Is that what it
Right?
was?
I don't know.
Oh, everything's got to be about the turtles. You don't know about the turtles, but just use three fingers like the turtles would. Oh, okay, okay.
Okay.
It's like if I
I
try to
don't
pick
know.
up my hydro flask.
Hey, there you go.
It was just yeah. But juxtapose the scene where when Raph gets mad. You know what I'm talking about? Once they find out that
Which
Splinter
scene?
gets
There's
taken.
so many scenes where he's mad.
I know. You know what? Fair. The one where they find out when they come back into their home, it's been broken into, and they find Splinter gone. He
Mhm.
just kind of like walks into the middle of the room. It's just like shaky cam, but it's circling him.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. Like that really also portrays without having to tell us. Yeah, Raph blames himself for this. That's why he's extra mad. You can tell just by the cinematography and how like the camera shakes because he's
Mhm.
losing his grip because he's starting to realize, oh, I did this, and it just kind of like pure rage. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah. That
But I
was pretty
didn't.
cool.
But I didn't like after that was him standing on top of the old house having a
And
Darth Vader
yelling.
moment. Splinter. So
It's interesting.
pros and
To me that
cons.
to me that felt more like a Zurg moment. You ever watch the Buzz
Oh
Lightyear cartoon show?
yeah,
Buzz Lightyear.
it's very serial, right?
Mm,
It's like a very
yeah.
like old timey serial. Yeah, it's very cheesy. Uh, and it's kind of like, would Ralph really do that?
Mm.
Splinter.
And
I don't
it's
know
not just yelling, right? He has to climb
the
up
house,
to the yeah.
the highest point on the plot,
Hmm.
in the middle of the night.
And then yell Splinter into the
Very
darkness.
yeah, howl at the moon, I guess.
Okay.
Not
Very
just yell
primal.
it, like everything. Splinter. Like
He's yelling with his whole body. Yeah.
he's saying it with his chest. Is what he's doing. um, but yeah, I
Right.
think that's all.
Overall, would you say in the future, when you have a 6-year-old kid, would you sit them down to watch this movie? 6 years
Oh,
old.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because you
Fair
know
enough.
what? You know what I remember about these movies more than anything? Because I watched it when I was like 2 or 3, right? And then I watched it again and again and again, right?
Hmm.
And the things I remember the most about it is the turtles, like the camaraderie, the wisecracking. I don't. I mean, now I remember it now because I watched it, right? But my fondest memories weren't of like the fights themselves so much, or like the burning down of April's like house or anything like that. It was really like them hanging out, being silly, eating pizza, saying "Cowabunga" at the very end. Like
Hmm.
those I can remember vividly when I was a kid. So yeah, it's like I don't. And all right, maybe obviously maybe I might change my opinion once I actually do have a kid. Uh, but I don't think it's that dark. Like if I had the choice of like, would you show your kid TMNT at age 6 or Raiders of the Lost Ark? 100%. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because Raiders of the Lost Ark is gonna scar that little kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Compared to like even like Goonies, I would be like a little hesitant about showing him Goonies or her or whatever God gives me. Quite honestly, my kid,
Mhm.
my hypothetical kid at this point, I'd be like hesitant to show him Goonies. I'd also be slightly hesitant, if I'm being honest with you, to show them even the first Star Wars film because I feel like
Yeah.
those movies have some violent, dark moments in them. Even though that's not what the movies are all about, right? But like this movie feels silly, and I'm like, for a 6 year old, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, like with like a sprinkling of like this would be like the gateway into like, all right, kid, now we're gonna start watching some like actual like serious films. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Some
Yeah.
real some real PG films. You know what I mean? This would be like
Yeah.
that gateway of like, all right, no more. rated G. Like, here we go. Like, real.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, son. Put down Cinderella. We're gonna watch some turtles.
And it's not. Listen, son. It's not that I want you Cinderella. It's fine. You can watch whatever you want. I'm just tired of watching it for the 121st time. Can we watch something else, please? Because if there's anything I learned from my friends who have kids is when they fixate on something, oh my god, to get fixate on it.
Oh.
Like I've
Okay.
heard stories. I've heard stories of like, yeah, we watch Frozen every day, every day,
Every
every
day.
day.
Twice a day.
There's like one friend I have. I'm
Oh
not gonna say
no.
their name, but their daughter, when Moana came out, she was all about Moana, and literally like every day for like 3 months, it was just Moana on repeat. I'm just like, oh my god, that would literally drive me insane. Like,
I like Moana.
not that
Ev-
I don't like
Not
anything
that.
that much. I don't like anything that much,
Yeah.
dude. That's a lot. Like even once every
Hmm.
day. Like, do you like anything that
Yeah.
much to watch it once every day?
I don't think
Right?
so. I don't. I really don't think so.
But I get it. It's because kids don't have long term memory yet. So in order to remember, they watch it. But then eventually they do remember. So it's like, why are we still watching this? Just
Okay,
remember it.
you're reciting the movie line for line. Can we watch something else now?
Yeah, you're literally citing the credits now.
Yeah,
Mr.
second unit, first director, Brad Stevens.
You're reciting all the FX people. Who does that? We've seen this movie way too many times.
Oh,
But
man.
but honestly, if we raised kids who recited the credit scenes, I'd be so proud.
I would show that off.
I would actually real talk. You know what? Just put the credit scenes on repeat. You recite this for my friends. Anything else
Yeah.
you want to talk about?
Yes. I want to talk about Shredder.
Ooh, oh my god, we haven't even talked about him
No, we haven't.
at all.
Um,
Yeah.
so the first glimpse of Shredder, right? It's he's in shadows. You get, I think it's just like a side shot of the face, and that in of itself is pretty like it's looming, right? But then he enters the scene. It's like a long shadow, and I thought that was a pretty cool entrance. And that whole intro scene where he's like talking and addressing the kids, the angle of the camera, right? It's from down up, and so you get this idea of like Shredder's this big presence,
Mhm.
and I thought that was really cool. That was a good choice. I like that.
It's also thematically speaking, and I don't know if this is they intended this, the writers, or if I'm just looking at it, that long shadow. It's also like metaphorical about how like it's also the long shadow of like the turtles and like how they came to be, and particularly Splinter and his past with his master and
Mm,
stuff like that. So it's like very foreshadowing of like this isn't just some random villain, like this is the past coming back. You know what I mean? Like that long shadow that
yeah.
follows all of us. So yeah, that scene's fucking chef's kiss. Delicious.
Yes. Yeah, and the costume. I really like the costume.
Very menacing, right?
Yeah.
With the big shoulder pads and the but
Yeah.
then,
And a
but
cape.
then but then the jokes they make out of it too are like
Yeah.
also
Also perfect.
yeah. Oh
It's
my
like,
god.
who's that? I don't know, but he probably never asked for a can opener.
It's like, whoa, look at all those blades. Oh, I guess he uses it to make coleslaw.
Cool.
That being said, the one thing I will say with this movie is like, yeah, it's kind of dark for a kids film. Where Casey Jones allegedly, right,
Hmm.
murders, straight up murder Splinter. Oops, death.
Yeah, and like
Allegedly,
it has like no second thoughts about it.
just straight death. Get crushed, bitch. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was that was kind of like ooh. Ooh, I don't know about that, sir. Ooh, but I would imagine they had the mindset of like, if we only make one,
Yeah,
let's
but
have a definitive ending.
right because it's like you said, indie film. Like you don't know if you're getting another one.
Yeah.
Heck, you don't even know if this one's gonna come out.
Honestly, they didn't know either because what I read
Yeah.
based on the few articles is like they were trying to sell it to studios, and a lot of studios were like hard pass.
Yeah, they didn't want. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah, that's odd, right? Thinking about it
Mm-hmm.
now, hindsight being 2020, right? But like, yeah, no one
Sure.
wants it. You guys don't see the marketing value in this. Very odd, but yeah,
Yeah.
I get why they did it. Uh, and then they completely retconned it in the next film. But yeah, okay. But murder,
Yeah.
like straight murder.
Yeah. But also, I mean, how could you not bank on this movie? Like the animated show had at this point been out for a couple years. Toys have been selling like hotcakes, right? How can you not want a movie?
How how can you not figure families are gonna come out in flocks to watch this film?
Yeah.
It just shows you, man. People
Murders of family are gonna come out.
a murder of families are gonna come out. Good word use.
Yes.
There's like a kid
Yeah.
watching us right now. It's like, what? You guys are murdering families? First of all, why are you watching us, kid? We curse like motherfuckers in this podcast. If you're one of my students, I apologize, but I'm not at work. So why are you watching me? Go practice.
Yeah. You go practice.
You go fucking practice right the fuck now. Sorry. But yeah. Any other thoughts? Yeah, I can't believe we didn't talk about Shredder.
Yeah, I think that covers it.
Yeah, we like the film. It's not
Yeah,
perfect, but
100%.
it hits us right in the nostalgia feels, and we're like, it's fun.
Yeah.
We were
I
laughing.
I'm gonna watch it again tomorrow.
Really? No, you're not.
No.
No, we're watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier tomorrow, sir.
I haven't watched the fourth episode yet.
You gotta watch that.
Yeah.
That's when the show ramps up. Is 4.
Okay.
It ramps up
That's what
so hard with 4, dude. You gotta go watch
that's
it.
what I've been waiting for. Okay.
You gotta go watch it, dude. Oh, 4 is so. 4 is like, honestly, legitimately speaking, right? I got the same feeling I got watching episode 4 the way I would watch certain episodes of Game of Thrones. It's just tension. I'm just like, what the? Oh my god! I'm probably hyping it so much for you now, but
I know.
I
I'm
was
gonna go
I
into
was
this like this better be the best fucking show I've ever seen in my
I was
life.
legit on the edge of my seat for that episode, and that's where it finally ramps up legitimately. There's a
Okay.
couple of things that happen. You gotta
That's,
go
that's
watch
what
it.
I want to
I
hear.
can't tell you. Go watch your. Let's end the episode so you can go watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. Plug everything. Speak freely. Instagram, Twitter. That's Kuno Stars on Instagram. David B Music on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. Okay.
1, 2,
Oh
3,
crap.
4, 5. All right.
I pre dude.